Hello, Year 5 parents. Welcome to the Meet the Teacher PowerPoint presentation. Quite different to how we would normally be doing it, but in these unprecedented times, we've had to make sure that we can try and do this without putting anyone at risk. I'm trying to keep the video as quick as possible, so for some of the information, I might gloss over it, but the information is there on the slides, so please feel free to pause on the slides to get that extra bits of information. My name is Mr. Venton, and I'm teaching for the Maple class. We have got Mrs. Lee, who is helping us out every day, all day in the classroom, as well as taking them for lunch. And we've got Mrs. Kembury, who is having them on Tuesday mornings and Friday afternoons. And she'll be taking them for an English and a math session on Tuesday and an RE session on a Friday afternoon. Mr. Meacham will be leading 2 PE sessions, one on a Thursday morning, one on a Friday afternoon each week. So those are the days that the children will need to have their PE kits in for. The uniform, so either winter or summer uniform until October half term. And on the slide at the moment, you've got what the winter uniform is. And on the next slide, it's got what the summer uniform is. So I will just go through that really quickly. Please make sure as well, especially as it starts to get colder, that children have got a coat in school with them so that at break times and at lunch times, they've got something to put on outside if the sun is shining but the weather is still a little bit. PE kits as well, making sure that they've got a t-shirt that is the colour of the house that they are in, and trainers. We are currently doing football, so if they've got AstroTurf football boots, then they can bring that in, but nothing with studs, please, because we are doing some activities on the concrete and on the mugger. Make sure that long hair is tied back, preferably with a bow or with a hairband that is the same sort of neutral colour as the uniform. If your child does wear stud earrings or any sort of earrings, please make sure that they've got some tape to cover it with on PE days, so that's on Thursday and Friday. The routines in Year 5, so the doors will open at 8:40 in the morning. As soon as the doors open, there are activities on the board for the children to have a go at, which is a morning fluency activity. So the closest to 8:40 you can get your children in, the more chance they have to really improve that arithmetic. And at 3:15, the gates will open up. Now, currently we are going out of one of the side gates because of making sure that we don't have all of the year groups going through the same exit and entrance. But we haven't had anyone left over so far, so I think that you've all managed to work out where that might be. If you want to speak to myself, whether it's in a morning or after school, if it's a quick query, then I am available. But especially in the morning, my priority is trying to get as much time with the children as possible. So if you've got something that you think might be a little more serious or might warrant a bit more of my time, please email the office and we will arrange a meeting so that we have adequate amount of time to cover the issue or the problem or whatever it is, whatever concerns you have. COVID-19. We are currently in a bubble with Year 4, and there's the same sorts of rules with COVID-19. If your child is showing any symptoms of it, please do not send them in. Please contact the relevant people to get their advice about what to do. If a member of staff or if a child in school starts showing symptoms, then we do have an isolation room where they can go until they are picked up, just to try to minimize the risk of it spreading throughout the bubble. These are the things that you need to bring in every day. I would also add to that, if your child has got a book that they are particularly interested in home, please feel free to send that in with them. They can keep them in their trays so that they've always got access to them. Water bottles are really important as well. The water fountains are operational, but only to fill water bottles up, so they can't use them to drink from. And although the water bottles are kept at the back of the classroom, as long as they ask me, they do have access to them throughout the day. So please make sure that your child has a water bottle with them. Pencil cases, we do have a lot of this equipment available in school, so your children will have access to that. If we can avoid using fountain pens in books because they do have a tendency to smudge or to leak, but if they want to use them on scrap paper and things like that, they are more than welcome to. Behaviour expectations. Year 5, the Maple class have been the oldest in the school for their whole time here, so there is an expectation on them to set an example for the rest of the school, and as they go up through the years, that expectation only gets higher. So especially around the school and within the school, there are whole class reward systems, there are whole school reward systems. Most of the children have started to pick up on what those are by now. And for myself as well, I'm making sure that I'm learning the school's policies with learning dots, with house points and things like that, to try and make sure that we reward all of the positive behaviour that so many of your children are showing already. And here are our learning superheroes. So depending on the colour dot your child might come home with on their collar will depend on what sort of behaviours they've shown throughout the day. So here is the normal Year 5 timetable. So as you can see, it's broken up into the core subjects. We have an assembly pretty much every day. The afternoon tends to be spent on foundation subjects. There is time for them to be reading every day, as well as listening to me read them a story at the end of the day. Presentation is really important, not just for making sure that the books are good, but because it really helps the children to achieve to the best of their abilities. So one of our achievements each week is for presentation, and I'll be looking to try to make sure that all children try their very hardest to get to their presentation. One of the things in upper key stage 2 as well is there is an increased expectation that children are doing cursive handwriting. So at home, please try to encourage children to practice their joined handwriting. Focus this half term is on indoor athletics and football. Wherever possible, we will be outside, so please make sure that they have got jumpers if the weather is looking a little bit colder. English, these are our topics throughout the year, and they are available on the website as well. We're starting off with a finding tale. English is taught using Talk for Writing, where children really immerse themselves in the text for 4 weeks, looking at a model text and finally developing it into their own take on that text. So they should be very comfortable with the stories that they are telling. Library slots will be every other Tuesday, where they can change library books. Reading books, they are starting to get to longer books, so we don't necessarily expect them to finish them all in a week, but we do expect them to read every day for 20 minutes. Yes, and there is that information. Spellings, we are no longer setting a weekly test. We are covering spelling rules 3 times a week in school, and in the newsletter it will be sent out what those rules were, as well as some examples of the spelling. So if they can practice them at home, that'd be brilliant, but we're not doing a test in school. Maths, those are the topics, and again these can be found on the school website. We're starting with place value. So any bits of mental arithmetic that you can do with your children at home, whether it's times tables, using times tables Rockstars, whether it's just practicing simple word problems, everyday use of maths, really supports the work that we're doing in school as well. Our first theme and topic is mountains and rivers. Lots and lots of children are showing that they already know plenty about that, and we will look at that in more detail. And in science, our first topic is space with Out of This World, which always captures the imagination for lots of people. So any bits of interest, I always love learning new things about this, and when it comes from the children, it makes me feel much better as well. So any bits of information that they can find, please do let them bring them in, because I'm always interested to hear that. Home learning will start from next week. So daily reading for 20 minutes, times tables Rockstars. There will be a spag.com sent out every Friday, as well as their learning logs, which will go out on Fridays too. They have their spag.com logins stuck in at the front of their reading records, and they've started taking their reading books home from last week. At the moment, because of COVID, trips have been put on hold. If that does change, then these are the trips that we might be going on, but we are waiting for government guidance on that. Anything that you feel that we need to know about, please don't hesitate to email the office on the email address on this slide, and if it's something that I can reply to or make a phone call about, I will. If it's something that needs you to meet me in person, then we can arrange a time for that as well. So like I said, if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, whether it's sending a question in with one of your children, whether it's phoning into the office. But I hope to meet you all properly very soon, and I hope that we will have a lovely year. Thank you very much, guys.